Hi, my name is Josh. I am the creator and filmmaker of the Barbie version of Thelma and Louise. This project didn't quite turn out the way I had hoped. There was a lot of potential. Quality problems were huge. Let's just say this first movie was a huge learning experience. This project came to fruition probably about, or rather, happened probably about almost a year ago at this point. My best friend and I, growing up, used to make a lot of movies with dolls and action figures. And so this is kind of going back to my roots. The Barbie movie came out, and I think Barbie, the movie, was very empowering for girls and women. And I think that I just kind of wanted to go in that same vein. So I chose Thelma and Louise. I think because it's such a strong female led movie. And part of it is because of the giant jump at the end. These two Barbies, I found clothes for them. Unfortunately, I feel so bad. They made a more accurate Barbie that's a little curvier, but then didn't make anything for her to wear. She had some wardrobe issues. So half the movie, her ass is hanging out, unfortunately. If you've seen Thelma and Louise, you know that the car goes off the cliff at the end. Now, I started researching and I found that Mattel did make a car for Barbie, and they made it back in the 80s. And when I was looking on eBay, they were pretty expensive, at least for really good condition ones. This is actually the first car I bought, and then this is the second car I bought. The second one was the one that actually did the jump. I fully restored both of them, cleaned them, I spray painted them, so this one is fully restored. And after doing that, I was like, I don't know if I want to destroy this. So I got a second one. I had so many problems spray painting it. You spray paint one coat and then the next one, and then it started bubbling. So I had to redo the cars like 3 or 4 times each. It was a nightmare. So finally, I got the cars restored. So both of them looked like this. And one of the funny kind of sad things is that you take something old, restore it, and then destroy it to make it look old again. I took a screenshot from the jump and took this car. I added the spray paint of all the dirt. Now, to get the car to go off the cliff, I designed and built a launcher. This thing is more than a little intense. It's probably about 10 feet long and gets the car going. Remember, I timed it from 0 to 35 miles an hour in less than a second. And here's one test. Pretty crazy, right? This contraption is not the safest thing, but it did the job. I had to make it pretty strong because these cars weigh about 5 pounds each. So while that doesn't seem like a lot, it was heavy. It was a pain in the ass. I spent so much time rebuilding, redesigning this thing, and finally it was working flawlessly. My friend and I, we went out, and the first day of shooting, and the launcher kept failing. We did this quite a few times, and we had some spectacular fails, or at least entertaining ones. Definitely got freeze frames out of them, but weren't usable. Of course, that seems to happen a lot to me. So here are some of the problems that we had. The first jump used a program, but I would not suggest using it. This program had glitching issues, so I lost the entire launch, which almost gave me an aneurysm, and dropped frames at times. The program lost everything. So the only footage we have is from my friend, Philip Wilburn, who was filming from below. This is the car that launched. The window's missing. I rebuilt it during the week. I was able to actually super glue most of the windshield back together. And luckily there aren't really any close-ups, so you couldn't see that the window was fractured and glued and scotch taped together. The next weekend, we did the launch, and this launch went better. My camera captured most of the launch. It dropped about 8 very important frames. And yeah, so this is what it looked like with the glitch. To fix this, I used many different approaches. As I said, this was a learning project. I used Photoshop to create the missing frames. That kind of worked, but that was a lot of energy. And then I started using a program called DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is what I edited this in, did all the color grading, some of the special effects. Now, as a disclosure about the film, Some of the VFX I have in there were free samples. I blew them up from lower resolution things, so that's why they don't look great. Unfortunately, because of camera framing and the time it took in air and the speed it was going and the coverage that we had, I milked the launches a little bit. We decided to just jump it a few more times. I was hoping maybe we'll get something useful, but as you can see, the wheels fly off the car. It's not really usable, but it was really fun because when it hits the ground, it looked like this. Probably took me 6 weeks to make what you now see. I did shoots in my office, I did shoots on location, and then I went back and did shoots on my office. And the setup with my office was my iPhone on a little stand, so it kept getting jolted and moved. I used the car from Ghostbusters to be the cop car in the background, and that light did not stay on. So every time I pressed it, the car shifted a little bit. Initially, I wasn't happy with the results of editing. As you can see, it was wonky, and I'm sure someone else is much more competent in the program and would be able to fix that. I was not. So I actually ended up reshooting here. A lot of it was against green screen. I actually used my TV as a giant green screen because paper was not reflecting properly, so I needed something that actually emanated light. Now it is in a form that I am much happier with. I've learned not to use anything that's not specifically a higher quality 4K without high levels of compression. So that's probably going to cost me a lot to invest in that. I'm hoping the next one will be even better. I am looking to do a recreation from the car chase from Lethal Weapon 4. I've already bought the glass and the furniture. If you're not familiar with it, here's the link to the scene. But basically, a car goes through an office building. I will leave you with this. We did come up with an alternate ending. It was kind of a twisted reimagining between my friend and I, which you can find online, and I will put the link here. But you can see the car keep going. Enjoy.